Holy there's 2 cup holders. Is the new 4-cylinder Landcruiser 70 series better, worse, or just as good as the V8? And what is this witchcraft? Automatic transmission and USB-C ports. Hey guys, we have the all new 2.8 litre 4-cylinder 76 series wagon Landcruiser out for its first drive and first look, feel, smell, touch. Mate, are you in for a treat with this review? From my perspective, from 11 years owning a 79 and 2 years from the Troopy, more importantly, we got a full drive trainer's perspective, but above that, we have Chris, who currently owns and has owned a 2.8 litre Prado for a number of years, who is now considering buying the new 2.8 litre Troopy. Test drive, how does it feel? How does it handle? Auto versus manual, V8 versus the 2.8. What's changed, and more importantly, what has not changed? What is the new GVM? What's the interior like? And is it still really a 70 series Landcruiser? All of that is coming up now. Straight away, I noticed a new dash instrumentation, a Hilux steering wheel. Feels weird driving automatic in a car that's usually got a gear shift. When I get back in mine, I'm going to be all over the place. I will have to say though, it does feel like a V8. Apart from knowing that it's a 2.8 and like being able to hear that it's not the V8, kind of feels exactly the same. Looking over the bonnet, that does look different, but it feels the same. And I think having the auto version now is going to open it up for a lot of other people who prefer to drive an auto who may not have an automatic license. But it still feels weird driving automatic in a car that's usually got a gear shift. Well, turning circle's always going to be better than a 79. The bonnet opens different. The bonnet is a different shape. The rod is in a different spot. I've got to say, it sounds pretty tinny. The V8 normally sits in here. This is a 2.8 litre, 4-cylinder. And with a V8, you move a couple of things, you can fit 2 batteries, but in here, I don't see where you're going to fit that second battery. They've taken up as much space as they can, as much real estate as they can in this engine bay. I mean, it'll be nice to work on. It's quite easy to get around, but that second battery is going to have to go on the back. It would appear that they've added an accessory fuse outlet here. You could put any fuses in and wire anything up yourself. That's pretty neat. Is this exactly the same engine as the Prado and the Hilux? Yes, it is. However, they have done a few things to make the cooling more efficient.
They've changed the intercooler from an air-to-air intercooler to what we call a charge cooler, which is a water-to-air intercooler. All right, and they've placed it on top of the engine now, but it has water pipes going through to the radiator. And when you've got all these radiators stacked out in front of them, it does reduce the efficiency of that. So having it up there and using the radiator cooling to cool it will make a big difference to the vehicle, I would imagine.
Let's address the elephant in the room. The 2.8 litre, the 4-cylinder, is it going to be as capable as the V8? My other concern is the gearbox. It's a 6-speed automatic. Now I've had the exact same combination in my Hilux. Once you put 33-inch tyres on the Hilux and that, you lose 6th gear. A lot of people really, in Australia in particular, will put 35s on these vehicles. Will you still have 6th gear? That's my main question. And that's my main concern with this vehicle. And especially for the 79 variant, the amount you could load up on the back of these vehicles, is that engine going to be able to handle it? The interesting thing is though, this now has a GVM of 3.5 tonne. The previous version only had 3.3 tonne. Are you at all concerned about the 2.8 litre being robust enough, reliable enough with the amount of stuff that people pack on them?
As far as the engine and transmission goes, we've seen that in the Hilux and the Prado, so there's lots of them out there doing lots of stuff, and some of them pretty well loaded up. Only time will tell, but having initially driven it, I'm very impressed with the performance of it. But again, it's like anything, if we load the house on the back, it may not be performing as well. So, you know, at the end of the day, everyone's got used to the V8 and the power of the V8, but understanding from its beginnings, it still had a small engine when it started off, and it used to do everything we wanted it to do back then. So I think people will be pleasantly surprised.
If any guy knows 4-wheel drives, this is the man to talk to.
Well, mate, we finally got the 76 up here. 70 series started around about 1984. Took its sort of design cues, I suppose, from the 55 series with the external wheel arches, and obviously the 40 series before that. They've gone through everything from 70 series, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 78 and 79. You've got one for almost every number. They've been around for a long time, and this, I suppose, is going a little bit back to the retro of when they first came out. Certainly in the UK, where I'm from, we had the Landcruiser 2, it was called, and it looks very, very similar.
Here are some things that haven't changed on the 70 series in general. Air intake, not a snorkel. It's in 5 or 6 pieces. The rear wheel track, I'm still trying to understand why they haven't lined that up yet. In case you didn't know, they widened the front because of the V8, but now they have a 2.8 litre version. Why can't they narrow the front again so they line up, or widen the back? Because this is a problem when you're on sand. It will try and fishtail. Now what Toyota have done in the 2016 version onwards, they've added stability control, but it doesn't really take away the issue. It just kind of puts a band-aid on it. Every single person I've travelled with who owns a 70 series who have not corrected the rear track will fishtail, especially on sand and especially when it's off camber. We see it all the time. A lot of people spend money on track correcting, so it would be nice to see Toyota at least fix the back end. Here's what they have changed. This is the first of the dual cabs. This is a 2013, and you can see this is the traditional style bonnet. This is the 2022 version where they have made changes to the bonnet. They raised it up and it looks a bit more aggressive. The 2024 version, no bonnet scoop. Yes, it is a 2.8 litre diesel. However, the V8 version also doesn't have a bonnet scoop anymore. It still has an intercooler sitting on top. They haven't moved it to the front or anything. Instead, it comes through here and then gets directed onto the intercooler. Now, the reason why they've taken the scoop away from this and made the bonnet quite flexible and loose is for pedestrian collision reasons. And you can see they've noticeably raised the bonnet up. It looks a bit weird from the side, I gotta say, but from the front, I actually dig the look of this car. But from the side, when you stand here, it does look a little bit weird. One other thing that have changed are the headlights. The whole front end is a different shape. Bigger indicators. So now when you do your GVM upgrade, you won't have to change to Cat 6 lights. That is huge, by the way. It's great to see they're stuck with 16-inch alloys and not 17s, not 18s, not 19s like some other vehicles come out with. It's still off-road. The interior. I can honestly tell you they haven't really done that much. It's the same dashboard, all kind of looks the same. Oh my God, it's got power mirrors. Yes, the 70 series is really that far behind. Powered mirrors, the tacho and the speedometer. It has a digital setting on this side. It has a little menu actually because it's using the Hilux steering wheel. But instead of the round speedometer that you're used to in the VDJs or the previous version, you've got that arch style, which is like the 40 series. That's pretty cool. That's a cool little touch. It's just a different layout, but everything's there. DPF, idle up, auto lights. Actually, that's cool. I've missed having auto lights. I don't have it in either of my 70 series. Power haul, it's basically just a power tune for towing, but I wonder how good that'll be off-road. It might actually work quite well. Second start, that's because it's an automatic. If you want to start in second gear low when you're in low range, that's what that button's for. And then that way it's not starting in first gear because then you get that clunk like I used to get in the Hilux actually. As you'd expect, you have manual selection on here as well. Stability control, downhill assist, 2 USB-C ports, which is actually pretty cool. I'm surprised to see that, but in terms of tech, it's really not a lot of tech in here. They've kept it pretty damn simple. 2 cup holders, holy there's 2 cup holders. Glove box, everything else is the same. We have the pedestrian or collision avoidance up here. So I'd imagine if you smash your windscreen, it's going to cost a lot more than $600 to replace. You better have that on insurance. The seats feel exactly the same as your standard seats, which are okay to start with, but after a while, from my experience, they get very uncomfortable. You know, one thing that is missing, an armrest. These bloody cars are this skinny little door skin here. There's no armrest. Good thing I've got one sorted, eh? You can get these on the website. Shameless plug here. Here we are. So Chris, this is what the Prado derived from. the Landcruiser Prado. You just coming from a Prado and you're looking at getting a Troopy. Now that you've driven this, how do you feel compared to the Prado?
The engine feels very familiar, but the drive's definitely a bit rockier. Yeah, it's farmy. It's one word.
Farmy, yeah. Yeah, it's very farmy. Does it feel more robust to you?
Yeah, definitely. It feels like, you know, for me, you know, the work that I do, especially being out bush a lot, I think the one concern I had with the Prado, it just felt like it was getting dust everywhere, and it was a little bit,
yeah,
you know.
Mate, this thing will get dust too, you know.
I know it will, but it just seems a bit easier to clean. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm wrong.
Well, if you go to work, mate, you get vinyl floors.
Might be stooping a little bit low on that one. Yeah. No, I'm excited. I reckon it's cool. I think I've always wanted one, but I always wanted the 2.8. I'm not that interested in the V8. Just fuel economy, really. That's a big one for me.
Yeah, I wonder what this does with fuel. That's one thing we haven't worked out.
I know when I first got my Prado, I was getting 8.1, 8.5 litres per 100. I got a feeling this will probably do about 9.5.
Maybe
10?
in the city.
Yeah, yeah.
I reckon once you're looking above 90 kilometres per hour, a brick's a brick. There's going to be all that wind resistance.
We'll see.
We'll see. People often mock the 70 series for being so basic, farm truck-like. But to be honest, that's what a lot of us are attracted to. They're more basic, they're simple. Simple, stupid is not a bad way to travel when you're out in the outback. There's less stuff to go wrong, there's less tech to cause issues like limp mode. With this one, there is a bit more tech in there. Well, let's be honest, there's not that much more tech in there. There's not much on this vehicle. It's like a clean slate. You bolt whatever you want to it, you modify it how you want it, how you want to use it out in the outback, how you want to use it when you go camping, how you want to use it to tow your caravan or camper trailer. That's what's so attractive about these basic machines. Would you buy one?
I drive a 200 series.
You wouldn't buy a farm truck then?
I'm not buying a farm truck, but I think it's a good vehicle for what you want it for. It's like anything. We start off with a base vehicle and then we build it into our dream. So it's a good base vehicle.
How would you feel if they brought out the 200 series with a 2.8? How would you feel about that?
It's not going to happen.
That's how I feel about this. But look, yep. I'm willing to eat my own words because I'm surprised at how much power this thing had.
It has.
And when I got in it, it felt like a V8.
Driving it, it definitely's got more than enough power. And it gets up and goes really, really well. It'd be interesting to see what the two against each other would work like. But you know, as far as the auto box with that engine in that format is working very, very well, I think. But I mean, obviously, if we change stuff, cause and effect.
That's it. I want to know what you think. Does it feel and look like a 70 series? Has the 2.8 litre engine taken away from being a 70 series? A Landcruiser with a 2.8 litre, does that sound right to you? What do you think? Is it still going to be durable and reliable as the predecessor? And would you buy one? Comment down below. I would really like to know what you think. There are not many new vehicle options out there that have a front and rear solid axle. There are only the Jeep Wrangler, the Ineos Grenadier, a number of American pickup trucks which are not really usable in Australia on the tighter tracks, and then we have the 70 series. And looking at it from that perspective, you've only really got two options moving forward if you want a heavy duty bush vehicle, a rigid vehicle, and that's the Ineos Grenadier and the 2.8 litre 70 series. Because moving forward, the V8 is going to end very soon. You picked this up from Newtown, yeah? Newtown Toyota. If you want to test drive, that's where you can try one. It actually takes quite a bit for a car manufacturer to lend you a vehicle because they're always worried about what you're going to say, because there are some people out there that just bag out the cars. Always be honest, but you always got to point out the good, which then allows you to point out some of the not so good points as well.